Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Megan.
And I'm Sierra, and for today's video, Megan and I are going to take a walk down memory lane over the past 5 years and kind of talk how we got from point A to point B, point being us in PT school now, and point A all the way back in high school.
So today we are partnering with Ana Luisa to help celebrate International Women's Day, which is on March 8th.
So we thought it would be fun to share our journey over the past 5 years to help encourage and inspire other women to follow their dreams.
First, we want to say thank you so much to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video. We really love working with them. They're our favorite jewelry brand.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah, so we have a lot of their pieces. They're just super classic pieces, and you guys can use our code MEGANSIER10 for 10% off their entire site, and you can also just click the link in the description. That's probably easier, so make sure you check them out.
One of the things that Megan and I really like about Ana Luisa is their sustainability mission. They offset 100% of the carbon emissions, and they also don't have any luxury markup, so their prices start at $39.
Ana Luisa is super confident in their materials, and so they actually also offer a 365-day warranty.
So we were really excited to show you guys the new pieces that we got. We got some more necklaces,
yes,
which is by far my favorite piece of jewelry to wear.
Although Sierra did branch out a little bit.
Yeah, I got a little ear cuff.
She has an ear cuff now.
And it's a mini one, which I think is like a little bit more subtle than the one that we had last time, so this will ease me into it a little bit more.
But now we have two, so one for each of us if we both want to rock a little
yeah,
ear cuff this summer.
So we'll put the names of the necklaces and other jewelry that we're sharing on the screen while we talk about them, but this necklace I really love because it also comes in this like larger size, so you can stack them if you want to, or a really cute idea, since this is International Women's Day that we're talking about, is that you can have one for your mom, which would be like the bigger one, and you can also just like wear the one that I'm wearing, so it'd be like you're matching with your mom.
And it's actually super cool. These ones attach in the front, so it's like a lot easier.
You put on yourself.
I have two necklaces that I have stacked. So the top one to me it looks like a daisy, but I know nothing about flowers, so it's just like a white flower. But I really like it because it's just like nice and neutral, and also we have a dog named Daisy, so it reminds me of her.
Yeah.
And then I also have this necklace which reminds me of the sun, so I think it's just super simple and layered together. I think it looks nice, especially because like the shirt I'm wearing has like a
nice
V-neck, so they lay really well, and I think it looks great.
Ana Luisa is a great gift for you or a loved one, and they offer speedy delivery all around the world.
So don't forget to click the link in the description and also use code MEGANSIER10 for 10% off their entire site.
Thanks again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video, and let's get into our 5-year journey. Alright, so rewinding clock about 5 years, talking junior year of high school, about like 2015
Which is
and
weird because that does
2016.
not seem that long ago.
I know!
Time is flying by.
Also, just in case this is the first video that you're watching on our channel, 5 years ago, you might be like, how are you in high school 5 years ago? We graduated undergrad in 3 years, and we also are like our younger for a grade, so that's how this is 5 years ago.
Yeah. So basically, junior year, that was when we were trying to think of like, okay, what colleges do we want to kind of look into to apply to? What do we want to do for careers? Like, that's a pretty common question that you're kind of like thinking about at that time. And so you're just like in like preparatory phase because you're not like senior year, but usually going into your senior year is when you start applying to colleges. So during our junior year, like this was definitely heavy on our mind.
So I don't remember like specifically what made me think like, okay, PT is exactly what I'm going to do. I do know that like while watching Grey's Anatomy, I know it sounds like dumb, but
I feel like it's true too.
I know, it's the only thing I can really remember of like what brought PT to like the forefront of my mind. But spoiler alert if you don't watch Grey's Anatomy, but Arizona lost your life, she had to go to PT, and I saw that and I was kind of like, that is like really cool, and I just like really liked the episode. I don't even know how much they showed PT, but that's I think what first piqued my interest. And really like at that point in time when you're thinking of a career, all you need is something to pique your interest for you to look into it further. And
so at that time I remember like we were like, okay, physical therapy, like what does that mean you have to do? Like you have no idea usually like going into it, and so you're like, oh, you have to go to college first, get your 4-year degree, and then you have to go to grad school. And so then it kind of like led us down a rabbit hole of like what schools near us even have DPT programs, and so that was just like where the searching journey began. But I think that Sierra became interested, and that I have had more experience with PT than Sierra has.
I've never been
to PT. Fun fact, but she has been with me to PT. And so I've always thought too, just like being someone that was like a patient at physical therapy, I was like, the PTs just seem to be like having a good time, seems like a good work environment, and so that was again enough for me to like have my interest piqued as well. And so we decided, okay, let's start taking some science classes. We decided let's take anatomy in high school while we're at it, because
good gauge on whether or not you like it. So we took anatomy. Actually, I remember like not really loving anatomy junior year of high school. I know we were like good with it. We like got good grades and stuff. But I don't know if it was our teacher. I was just like,
I feel like I liked anatomy, but I didn't love our teacher. So that was like the thing that was difficult. But we made it through. It didn't like deter us or anything. And by the end of our junior year, we decided that we were going to apply to the University of Iowa. We could have applied to multiple schools, but being residents in Iowa and just knowing how the college system works here, we knew we were going to get accepted, and we knew that we would be pretty happy going to Iowa, and that they also had the DPT program that we were most interested in going to when we were in high school.
Yeah. Also, what's funny is that when I think back to like 5 years ago, or just like before, when I was brainstorming like potential career opportunities, I remember there's a point in time where I was like, I am not going to go to school past just my 4-year undergrad degree. Like, I was like, there's no way that's happening. I'm not going to go to school beyond that, because why would I want to do that to myself? And I think that if that's something you're thinking to yourself, don't let that limit you, because yeah, you have to like pay more money to go to grad school if you just want to like keep going. But knowing this is a career that I'm really interested in, really passionate about, to me, it's worth it, and I can't think of anything else that I would rather be doing.
And to be honest, once you're in school, you're kind of like, you're just used to it. Like, I couldn't imagine going and working in like a 40-hour work week right now. So it really just becomes like, this was really the perfect situation that I could ask myself to be in right now, and I'm really happy that I'm still in school, honestly. Okay, next we have senior year. So this was when this was 2016, 2017. That's all I was looking for. And so during our senior year, again, we had already applied to college over the summer, already got accepted. So we're like, sweet, we're going to Iowa. And we honestly decided to have a pretty chill senior year. And I am very thankful and happy that we did that. I could not have asked for really like a better senior year. It was great that we had like so much time off. We even ended up graduating a term early, which we totally did not intend to do that, but it just ended up happening.
What's funny is that
10 year, you know how it happened.
What happened was we wanted to drop AP Chemistry, which some of you are like, oh my god, like you dropped AP Chemistry, like wouldn't that have helped you and like saved you money and credits and time in college? No, it wouldn't have, but I won't get into like logistics of all of that. But I think Meg and I were having a case of senioritis, and we were like, I think that we're just ready to call it a day. Yeah. So that's ultimately like how we ended up graduating early. But back to things that actually prepped us for where we are now. We did a program through our school called Apex. If you guys are longtime viewers, you probably remember Vlogmas 2015. Yeah. Or I guess it would have been 2016, where we were like driving to and from Apex, and we had to dress in like business casual. And the whole premise of that, like Apex program, which is kind of interesting because like our specific program, which is exercise and sports science, was like the first time they were doing that. So our kind of like group was the guinea pig of like what they wanted to do. So it was pretty new, and there wasn't a whole lot of like set in stone, this is how it works. There was a lot of input that we had, which was good, but it was also just like, it made it a little more scattered and not super focused, but we kind of just like made the best use of it as we could. So Megan and I tried to steer our focus more towards job shadowing, and so we literally got to go like job shadow just like during school hours, which I think was really great because one, it counted for observation hours when we applied to PT school, since it was so that was like, weird to like put down in our application. I was just like, wow, 4 years ago, this is why I was doing it. It was great to get actual shadow experience, because when you're wanting to go into PT school, you want to know that's something you're actually going to want to do. So you want to get into as many settings as possible to make sure it's something you want to do. I think looking back now, at the time I was like, go me and Sierra, like look at us go. We're getting quite a few hours, but then like I look back and I think I'm pretty sure we had around 20 hours of observation, which is so not as much as we could have done. Like if we wanted to, we could have shadowed more. I think it would have been beneficial. I think that if we would have explored more settings besides just outpatient, then that would have been helpful too. Because we really just stuck with outpatient. I think we did like two settings. Yeah. Not even two settings, like 2 different places. Yeah. And I think that we just could have like pushed ourselves a little more, but I'll try to give ourselves some grace. Obviously hindsight's 20/20, but I think that if you have the opportunity to do something similar, try and push yourself to get as much observation time as you can, or get an actual like PT to mentor you and kind of like guide you onto the path of like preparing you for college and like what classes you should take, giving you advice, that kind of stuff. Alright, we are on to 2017-2018. This is our freshman year of college. We're finally like getting our feet wet, and like this is like, I remember entering college and being like, okay, this is like where it starts to see if I can actually get into PT school, which like I will say, do not put that much pressure on yourself, because sometimes people don't even know if they're going to be in PT school when they first go to college. So or like sometimes you like, in a way, if we would have done that and like if her interest would have changed a little bit, I feel like that would have prevented us from like letting that happen. Yeah. Luckily, I think that we both were like, okay, no, we're in it because we're in it and we both like it. But it's okay if your interests change and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Yeah, that's totally fine. So don't let yourself get like stuck in like, I decided this 2 years ago and I have to keep going no matter what. Like your interests will change if they do, and you just need to follow those if that happens. So I think first semester, chemistry was by far like our biggest class. It was a prereq for PT school, so I was like, we gotta start off strong. Yeah. And we put a ton of time and work into that class, and it paid off because we did well in it. But yeah, I think looking back, it's hard. Like me and Sierra freshman year, I think freshman year especially, but like I'm not gonna lie and say that this didn't probably continue throughout undergrad, but I think that we were so hyper focused on school almost to a fault,
it's hard to gauge like truly how I feel about it, because I'm like, well, it got us to where we wanted to be, and at the end of the day, like, I can't ask for much more than that. But I also am like, sometimes I look back and I still just like don't love looking back at just like freshman year maybe specifically, or just like, I'm like, did we balance everything as well as we could have? Did we really like quote unquote live up our undergrad experience as much as we could have? And I feel like it's hard to say. So, but I feel like that's also just like, everyone probably feels that way, and like you're gonna compare one person's experience to your experience and stuff like that. So it's just something I thought I'd throw out there.
Yeah, as far as like actual other preparation stuff, we did join our pre-physical therapy club at our school. I will say, like, we were in this program throughout undergrad, but if I have any recommendations for like past year, I would say to get involved more, because I feel like I was more just a passive observer in that club rather than like an actual, like, I could have been on the
Although, to be honest,
board.
there's plenty of people in our current program who were here for undergrad too, and I had no idea they went here. So,
so I guess
they were in the program, so you don't have to be in the program, but just like, I think since we decided to be in that program or club, we should have been more, a larger part in it. Something me and Sierra also decided to do our second semester of our freshman year was start volunteering at the University of Iowa hospitals. We just were like, if we can get some PT hours here, that would be good. And so there was like an information meeting that we had to go do, and then a couple other things. But then it was just like, okay, sign up for whatever unit. And it was like, it had to depend on how many slots were open. And it was also supposed to be like, you can only sign up for a certain unit if you can attend a training session. And so the problem was that Sierra actually was like, I can't attend a training session.
Yeah. So like, my whole goal with volunteering, obviously like I wanted to help out, but my main goal was because if you volunteer in a PT setting, like, you can count those volunteering hours as observation hours, which I could include in my application. But my first semester of volunteering, I wasn't even in a PT unit, so I was just like in a completely random unit, and I was like, well, this is almost for nothing. It wasn't for nothing, because I still like got to put volunteering experience on my application, but I didn't have any PT hours, so that was a bit of a bummer. But
I did get to start volunteering in a PT setting, and what's funny is like someone else could not make the same PT meeting, and they were just like, so can I like make that up some other time? And Sierra did not know that was a thing, and I didn't know about it until after. So she could have probably made it work. But
I will say, it at least pushed me outside my comfort zone. I had to like go and sit at the nurse's station and like answer phone calls and stuff, and that was terrifying for me. So all right, now we're on to our sophomore year. This is 2018-2019. So I think that this was like a very big year for us in terms of like really bulking up our application. So Meg and I had at this point like a couple like 10 or 20, 40 hours or something of observation done. But I think we were both like trying to aim for like a 200 mark, which I don't know where we got that from, but that's what we had. So over the summer we were like, it's time to really kick it into gear. And so Megan and I had the goal of having like each our own long-term over the summer job shadow experience.
And so I remember during my spring semester, or during our spring semester, we were like, okay, we were searching for places in Des Moines that we would maybe be interested in going to, because clearly there's plenty of physical therapy places that you can reach out to. Like Des Moines is a decent sized city, but it was like, really, I was trying to figure out like, what's a unique place that I think would be fun that's not just going to be an outpatient clinic, because I really wanted to try and like expand my horizons. So I ended up finding a skilled nursing facility that I was interested in job shadowing at. I found an email and I reached out, and they responded pretty quickly, and we're just like, yeah, we can make that work.
Sounds good.
So I was like, that was easy, and I was like, just set for the summer.
Yeah. I, on the other hand, I also kind of wanted to do a skilled nursing facility because I hadn't been to one of those yet, but I reached out to a different one, and like I was jumping through hoops with like contacting one person, and like I had to call someone, but like things didn't work out with that place, and so I decided to just like reach out to someone else, because like by this point it was like summer was starting. Megan had already started going to her skilled nursing facility, and I was like, I need to find a place to start like shadowing at. And so I was able to find like one quick outpatient place to just like get in for like a week or something that I did 3 days of shadowing at. And then we went on a trip. That was when we went to Tennessee, I think. And then by the time I came back, I wanted to have like the rest of the summer set up. And so what I ended up doing was splitting between 2 outpatient clinics. One focused on like vertigo and vestibular balance and stuff, so it was like a little bit of a different outpatient setting. And then one was just like a regular orthopedic outpatient setting. But I was able to at least like get more of a mix throughout the summer, because I got to go to 3 different places where Megan was only at 1.
So also we continued volunteering during this year. Sierra was able to hop on a PT unit. I switched to a different PT unit too, so we were actually doing like sports medicine. And so we did that together.
Well, we wanted to do inpatient, but that like filled up super fast.
We weren't even taking new people, so that was not a possibility for us.
So sophomore year was probably like one of the hardest years of undergrad for coursework, because it felt like every class we took, since we had done so many gen eds like in high school and finished them up kind of freshman year, I guess, it was like every class we took was like, this is a prereq for PT school.
It was like we took anatomy during the fall semester, human physiology during our spring semester. We started physics during our spring semester. Was that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Jeez. And then we also took, like, we had a writing class where it wasn't like a pre-arc, but we took it for the purpose of it helping us start our application stuff and making resumes and stuff. So that was still something where it was like, I'm trying to put a good amount of effort into it to give myself, like, I didn't know if it honestly set me up that well, but it was a class that filled my credits anyway, so it was fine.
And then we also took other classes that weren't necessarily prereqs for PT school, but still like really helped like build upon the information that we're using now in PT school, such as exercise phys, a little bit of microbiology, but that was also just like, we had to do like 2 harder biology classes specifically to apply to Iowa. All right, now we are on to senior year 2019 to 2020, what a year it was. So I would say that we both agree this year academically was not necessarily like super easy, but I think we had kind of like gone to the swing of things with science classes, and some of them were kind of easier. So it was like most of our attention was put onto applying, which was during the summer.
Especially because like the applications that we had sent in already had our grades from classes we had finished and done well in. So like you still have to, like if you get accepted to school, you have to send your transcripts later, so you still want to try and do well. But like you would have already got accepted into a school.
And like I don't think they're gonna like reject you unless you like totally fail your last year of classes. So we're feeling pretty good and kind of like we could relax a little bit. So we took the GRE, which honestly like I do not have.
Bless anyone that takes that.
I hated taking the GRE. We took it, like, we pushed off so long. Do not do that. I would recommend if you are going to take it like the winter break before you're applying, because then you actually have time to like set aside.
We took it like the summer we were applying, but just at the beginning.
Do that. So because then you need to like allow time for you to take it again, and we were just lucky that we didn't have to take it again. And also don't ask me for GRE study tips because I could not tell you anything.
I feel like honestly the GRE from like I feel like it's pretty similar to the ACT, and like there's some things you can do, and like you should definitely like continue doing practice problems, but like other than that, I don't know what you do to make yourself any better. So yeah, good luck. Ask someone who's better at studying than I am.
So when we turned our application, we probably turned it in, I think beginning of August was what we ended up doing. So that was before school started, which
earlier
means,
the better.
Yeah, I'd totally recommend send it in as soon as you can, because one, then you don't have to worry about it. Like if I would have had to worry about that on top of like schoolwork when school started, like no, that would not be good. And then fall semester is when we started getting emails about hearing back for interviews and like going to interviews and all that stuff, where it was like such a stressful time in my life, just like not because of school, but because of
like every
PT
single
stuff.
day you're like refreshing your emails and like just seeing if you're getting any emails and stuff like that. So it's just very stressful. Maybe academics weren't as stressful, but this made up for it.
So we'll briefly mention that for prepping for interviews, we did a couple of things. I would recommend, there was like a $5 like prepping for PT school like interviews book from Amazon or something. I thought it was great. It had a ton of practice questions and examples of how you should answer them, and I thought it was very worth the $5.
Also, we have like 2 videos that are probably going to be more like all-encompassing than this video. So we have the video that we made that was literally our entire process applying to PT school and us vlogging that, and then also after the fact we made a video where it was us answering questions that were super specific about our application. So if you guys want to have more information on that, then you should just check out those videos. And then also towards the end of our senior year, after we had to go fully online, we actually had what was supposed to be an in-person orientation for our PT program in April of 2020, but that ended up being on Zoom. And so that was a little different. We had like we were on there like our whole class, and then we like didn't know who anyone was. And then also towards the end, like the first years at the time came on, but to us they were like the class above us. And it's just weird because now here we are almost a year later from that point. That was in April, but it's getting pretty close, and it's just like that then back then, like that's us now, and it's just really weird to like be in those shoes. And then also like thinking that the class above us right now is like getting ready this May to go on their full-term clinicals. It like puts into perspective how quick grad school goes.
Yeah, it really does, because it's like I feel like such a newbie, but then I'm like, well, this last year just flew by, and like the second years were in my shoes last year, and now they're like almost done.
Yeah.
So it's like crazy, because I feel like we're gonna post this and like eventually look back and be like, wow, that flew by really fast, like when we graduated and all of that stuff.
It really does go by so fast.
So yeah, anyway, going back to 2020, because that's when we started grad school, we started our program in mid-July, which I know is like something that not a lot of programs do. I think a lot of programs start just like in the fall, kind of like college and high school do. But since our program has slightly different time frames,
I think it's a 2.5 year program.
Earlier.
They start earlier and kind of like makes up for that time a little bit. But our summer session started pretty much fully online, and it stayed that way until like August, where we had just a little bit of in-person. And that was difficult, honestly.
It very much was.
To be honest, the first week, we said this on our podcast before and maybe in videos before, but I kid you not, you guys, like that first week, we vlogged the whole first week. You guys could probably go see how draining it was, but like that was the most compact week we've had in PT school ever.
And like, not to say it was like the material was like the hardest thing we've learned, because it's not, but like, oh my god, I feel like I woke up at 7 or 8 a.m. and then just like worked until 11, and I was like, I guess I'll go to bed now.
I think a lot of it too was that like we were being introduced to just a lot of like PT as a profession, and like, you know, you try to know as much as you can when you're applying for programs or just like looking into the career, but it's not the same as like you're in the program and they're like, here's all this APTA stuff. Yeah. Here, learn this about it.
I think
here's this.
Something that I felt was when we were like getting all this information, I was like, how much does everyone else know about this stuff? Because I don't know any of this stuff. So I felt like almost kind of like I was behind, because I was like, what if everyone else knows all this stuff and I don't, so I have to work like double time to understand it.
It wasn't that big of a deal, basically. That's what we're saying. So we got through it. It was fine. And then the rest of the summer, and like I feel weird because like this, like going to grad school from undergrad has been definitely a step up, but I almost feel like I am like better at managing my time now. And I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, so it's hard to say like really how much I'd be balancing things. But like we went back home for the weekend. I'm just like, I feel like I can balance things pretty well now, and I know how to study for a certain amount of time, and I know when, okay, that means I can do something else for a certain amount of time.
I agree. I think that one thing that I really tried to focus on while being in grad school, because I feel like in undergrad I'd be like, I can't go home this weekend, or I can't do this weekend because I have a test next week. And
but
that is
because
not
you had like
a way
the mindset of like, have to do all this test, have to get a good grade, have to get a good GPA to get into grad school. And now it's like, I mean, me and Sierra still try to do as good as we can, but it's also like, I need to live my life. And you don't have the fear of getting, you know, kicked out of grad school, because that's just going to be like, that's a little too extreme. So like, there's no reason to like say, no, I can't do certain things.
Yeah, so I think it's just about finding balance of like, study when you can, study when you need to, don't work overtime if you don't have to. I think that's something that I've really had to learn and say, okay, are you studying because you don't feel like you know the information, you feel like you need to study, or are you just studying because you're like, I don't know what else to do, and I'll just study because I have an exam coming up. And I think that we need to take more time to do things that we enjoy, because that's going to like recharge you, rather than just be like, I only study. So I think that's been something I've had to learn. So that kind of concludes where we're at now. If you guys want to keep up with our PT school journey, you guys know we post vlogs almost like every single week or every other week.
It's so fun for us to see comments of you guys saying like, oh, you guys motivate me to study or do anything like that, or especially if you guys are like in grad school of some sort or like in a health science program. It's just super interesting to see your guys' perspective, and like that we have viewers that are doing something similar to us. So we hope you guys enjoyed listening to just what we've been going through the past 5 years, if you haven't been with us the whole time.
We also want to thank Annalisa again for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to use code MEGANandSierra10 for 10% off, or click the link in the description.
And we'll see you guys in our next video.
Bye!